Coming up on today's episode of Airborne-Unlimited. Arsenal of Democracy flyover canceled by National Parks Service. VAI starts drive to save NYC Heliport. From Reno to Roswell, National Championship Air Races announces new home. Welcome to Airborne Unlimited. I'm your host, Holland Lee. Let's get into today's stories. Arsenal of Democracy flyover canceled by National Parks Service. There are occasionally blisteringly dunderheaded bits of governmental incompetence to be found with increasing regularity, but the most recent move by the National Park Service leaves us shaking our heads and a bit ashamed of Uncle Sam. The leaders of the Arsenal of Democracy consortium had planned to execute a World War II aircraft flyover at Mount Rushmore on Memorial Day to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day. It would have been grand and not a sight to miss. Unfortunately, the National Park Service refused to approve the necessary permits, and regrettably, the planned flyover of historic military aircraft had to be canceled. The folks at Arsenal of Democracy noted that, quote, "We worked hard to put together an extraordinary event that would honor our World War II heroes on the day that we remember those that made the ultimate sacrifice serving our nation. We are grateful for the support that we received from the FAA, members of Congress, and committed sponsors. Unfortunately, National Park Service bureaucrats would not let us proceed with our commemoration of the greatest generation, despite having previously received clearances and held a successful event in our nation's capital, the most protected airspace in the nation. Plans for a future Arsenal of Democracy flyover are currently being considered and discussed." End quote. And after the break, Samson Sky hits the wind tunnel.
For over 30 years, the massive Sport Plane Resource Guide has provided expert, credible information, evaluations, and critical analysis of all that the sport aviation world has to offer. The all-new digital Sport Plane Resource Guide is coming with extensive multimedia features that are constantly updated, an even more comprehensive online guide to all things sport aviation. Available soon. www.sportplane.com.
There's a lot of places I get to at the end of the runway or in turnarounds that I need an engine running. So for me, it's very important to have a product that I'm absolutely confident with. I am very confident with the Trailblazer propeller. And when I'm flying air shows, I know that propeller is going to be right for me.
Welcome back. Now let's take a trip around the patch for some shorter stories. Samson Sky hits the wind tunnel. Samson Sky updated followers on its flying car progress, describing some of the travails of the wind tunnel as they get closer to production. Recent tweaks have largely revolved around realistic production alterations designed to bring the Switchblade to a more achievable production rate, with little nips and tucks to the design and materials involved. In the update, Samson Sky Captain Sam Bousfield reported that their 3D printed prototype worked out perfectly. CAF Great Plains Wing also welcomes Fairchild PT-19 to their ranks. Like their associates in Tampa Bay, the commemorative Air Force Great Plains Wing has recently acquired a 1946 Fairchild PT-19. Purchased in 2023, the aircraft was officially assigned to the wing, which is based in Council Bluffs, Iowa. The unit, known for being the former home of the iconic P-51 gunfighter, has been actively seeking ways to keep its members engaged and involved in aviation projects. New certification standards go into effect on May 31st. The FAA will soon put the new airman certification standards into effect for a handful of outstanding certificates, capping off years of work and moving away from the serviceable but imperfect practical test standards of yore. The changed ACS will include some of the bigger names in any young pilot's lineup of boss battles, with particular attention given to the helicopter folks this time around. The new ACS series now applies to powered lift category aircraft, too. EAA chapter hosts successful Flying Start Day. EAA Chapter 534 showed off a program best described as Young Eagles but for older pilots, showing the effects that a passionate group of enthusiasts can have on a community. The Flying Start program is designed to be a little introduction to the fun and breadth of flying, just as the EAA's Young Eagles program is for the under 18 crowd. Flying Start lets adult participants do the same, try out the basics of flight, and get a taste for joining the ranks of pilots the world over. That's it for today's Trip Around the Patch. Let's get back to the rest of the news. VAI starts drive to save NYC Heliport. Vertical Aviation International is worried that an NYC helicopter port is in danger of permanent closure courtesy of a recently introduced piece of legislation. The legislation by Simone Hoylman would permanently close the West 30th Street Heliport within New York City's Hudson River Park. The advocacy group has already had it on their radar for some time, noting the difficulty in bringing heliports back online once they're closed for pretty much any reason at all, even temporarily. In their call to action, the group said it, quote, strongly believes this legislative attempt to shutter the heliport is the most serious threat to the facility in over 20 years. Closure of the only 24/7 heliport with refueling capabilities in the region would lead to dramatic economic losses for the city and state, including fewer jobs, increased congestion on local roads, negative impact on healthcare transportation, and threats to the coming introduction of new technologically advanced and greener vertical aviation aircraft, end quote. In order to push back on the legislation, the VAI published a quick letter template and pathway to amplify voices in support of aviation. Submissions issued through their chain will be collected by the VAI Government Affairs team. After these messages, National Championship Air Races announce new home.
Well, hello, fellow pilot. I'm John King.
And I'm Martha King.
You know, we've all had our flying lives disrupted lately.
Well, King Schools is here to help you stay up to date with courses that you can access on your desktop, iPad, or iPhone. If you'd like a refresher or just want to expand your aviation horizons, we have a course for you.
So head over to kingschools.com/Rusty today for details.
Welcome back. From Reno to Roswell, National Championship Air Races announce new home. The Reno Air Racing Association has selected Roswell, New Mexico as the new home of the National Championship Air Races, following a lengthy selection process and after demonstrating its commitment to carry forward this one-of-a-kind event. Roswell has been chosen to host the return of the Air Races in 2025. The event will continue to feature 7 classes of racing, static displays, military demonstrations, and more. This decision marks a significant milestone in the event's history, as Roswell provides an opportunity to bring national championship air racing to a new part of the country while starting the next chapter for the organization. As the new home of NCAR, Roswell reportedly provides air race participants and enthusiasts an opportunity to see the event in a new light, with a newly designed course and opportunities for new attractions specific to the location. Additionally, Roswell's airfield will set the stage for the next generation of high flyers to compete in an innovative and exciting environment. The National Championship Air Races will take place at the Roswell Air Center, a former military base for the Army and Air Force. Today, ROW is one of the largest centers for the commercial aviation industries of the Southwest. And that's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne, and don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.